Hey, welcome back to Defending It Utah Radio. I'm Ben McClintock from defendingitutah.org, where we think right and wrong, not right and left. And we've got a really great show for you today because we're going to be getting into who's behind all of the things going on right now between police brutality, all of the riots going on, both sides. And we're going to be getting into the principles of who's been behind both sides since forever. And this is getting us in prep for a huge groundbreaking report that you do not want to miss. You want to make sure you're subscribing to this channel, that you are going to begin. This is just really going to blow, I think, the lid off of everything. But this is laying off the foundation for the things that we've discovered for the recent events that are going on that are the exact same as events that have gone on before. So Joe Wolverton, we've had him on, had his program on here before, and he is just a great expert in all things history and the Constitution and liberty, and he really did a great job. So that's on his video. So we're just mirroring his video over to here so that you have a chance to see these principles to help us better identify and not fall for the false left-right strategy that, of course, is being played here by the media, by government, by the establishment, etc. If you like what we do here at Defending Utah, we want you to please go to defendingutah.org, click on the membership tab. It supports this program. It supports the efforts that we do. Also, you get lots of great benefits as well for becoming a member. Make sure that the things that we do are not silenced, that we're able to continue to do these things. Also, go to our brand new revamped store and pick up some great Liberty items there. Go to Amazon, type in Defending Utah, some fantastic Liberty books you want to get a hold of. So without further ado, though, we have Joe Wolverton.
Hi, everybody. Joe Wolverton, teacher of Liberty here. I tell you, I've got to do a video today. Everybody's been asking, Joe, will you do something about what's going on in the country? So I thought I would do that for you. I'm going to keep these videos short, and it's your responsibility. You go out and look at the sources that I reveal to you. So first, everything that's happening in our country right now has happened before in the world. In fact, one of the greatest historians, Polybius, says, any man that can understand cause and effect and will read history can predict the future of any country ever. And in our country, it's true. If you know the history of Athens, some of you guys know Pisistratus. I'm going to hit you with the best story you've ever heard that will sum up all of this that's going on in our cities today. So, one of the biggest cities in history, Athens. You got my man Pisistratus. Now, Pisistratus, as I told you before, very rich guy, right? Smooth talker, all right? And before I get into the full story, I want to tell you the sources. Aristotle, the Politics, the book called Politics. Plutarch, the Life of Solon, all right? You can read to find the whole story there. And Herodotus, the History. I love the translation by my man Tom Holland, a great friend of mine and one of the best people that on the ancient world. So I'm going to tell you the story of what happened. Solon creates the Constitution for Athens. Solon says, I'm going away because I want to see if the people of Athens will follow the Constitution when I'm not around. He leaves. A man named Pisistratus, the people of Athens divide into three parties. Men of the hills, which are the poor people, the people who have no political power at all, have no property. They live in the hills. The men of the coast, who are men who live on the coast, cleverly enough, who live on the coast, and they've just achieved some political power because they've become wealthy through trade, okay? And the final party, the men of the plains. These are the generationally rich people that traditionally have held all the political power in Athens. All right, so there starts being the people in the men of the hills are starting to say, wait a minute, the men of the coast, they weren't born into these families yet. Now they have political power. And the men of the coast saying, yeah, but we have property and you don't. You shouldn't have because you're slaves and you've always been poor and so you don't deserve power. And the men of the hills like, yeah, but there's more of us than there are of you. Well, you notice who's not talking in all of this, right? The men of the plains. They just sit back. Well, along comes Pisistratus, born wealthy man of the plains, but he appeals to the men of the hills, right? He says to them, you know what? It's not right that you don't have power. It's not right that you don't have power. The men of the coast taking all the power, they're no different than you by birth. There just happen to be people that have made money because of this system, but the system prefers them. You guys have been out of power for too long. He goes to the men of the coast and says, hey guys, here's the deal. Those men of the hills, they've gone crazy. They are getting weapons. They're getting geared up to just come down here to Athens, to the city, and just riot. And they're like, ooh, what do we do, Pisistratus? And Pisistratus is like, I got you. I will take care of it. I will talk to them. So he is playing the middle. He's a rich person. Think about this, y'all. How many times in our history have, when people who have felt underrepresented, who have felt disenfranchised, who have felt voiceless, how many times have those riots attacked our modern men of the plains? Never. The White House isn't burning down. Bill Gates' house isn't burning down. The governor of California, his house isn't burning down. The rich people in Minneapolis, their houses aren't burning down. What's burning? The houses and business owned by the men of the coast. And the men of the hills have been riled up for so long by politicians like Pisistratus. Same story, y'all. 2,400 years, same story. The rich people get up there, play both sides against the middle, and they demand what? What ends up happening? Pisistratus takes his boys, goes out of town, cuts himself, cuts his horse, comes back in, tells the men of the coast, oh my gosh, look what happened. They are psycho. And the men of the coast are like, we need to give you more power. So guys, guess what's going to happen? Guess what's going to happen at the end of all this? The government is going to assist. If you give us more power, men of the coast, we'll keep you safe. And guess what they're going to say to the men of the hills? Guys, if you give us more power, we'll give you more say in politics like you deserve. But never now, never in 2,300 years ago, and never in 2,300 years from now, do the property of the men of the plains ever get harmed. Why? Jesus Christ himself said it. A house divided against itself cannot stand. Do you understand? If you have ears to hear, hear. The men of the plains, some reason, always safe. Why? Because they are the one playing both of us. The men of the coast, the men of the hills, we're all getting played by the same guy. All right? Remember that, guys. When they're out there rioting, look who's signing the checks. George Soros and many others. Don't get me wrong. But the point is what? The men of the plains are always safe and always riling us up. Look at the celebrities, man. You put a black box on your Instagram and suddenly you love the poor people? Rubbish. You want to help? Cut a check. Don't put a black box on your Instagram. Cut a check, rich guy. But you're not. Why? Because a house divided cannot stand. Last thing, I'm going to tell you about my man Thomas Gordon. You ready? I'm going to give you a quote. You know who Thomas Gordon is. He's one of the heavy hitters from history. I'm going to give you a quote from a man right now. And I know this has gone longer than it should have, but I care about that. I get fired up, y'all. I'm getting fired up because we're hating on the wrong stuff. You're hating on the protesters. You're in favor. You're in favor of the men. They're getting rough. And then the men of the hills are saying, but the men of the coast deserve this. They've been oppressing us for so many years. You're right. But we're all fighting the wrong people. All right. Here's my man, Thomas Gordon. You ready? Here it goes. All tumults are in their nature and must be short in duration. They must soon subside. But tyranny lasts for ages and will go on destroying until at last it has nothing left to destroy. It's that simple. Pisistratus, smooth talker. Riles up the men of the hills, scares the men of the coast, gets begged both sides. Nothing of his is ever bothered. You see what I'm saying? And remember, don't forget the part where he faked the injuries. Don't forget the part where he and his boys rode out of Athens pretending they were attacked by these people. Not attacked. It was just to scare those men of the coast into giving him more power. And you wait and see, my friends. The result of all this isn't going to be any kumbaya peace. It's going to be the government taking more power because they're asking for it. The people want to be safe, right? I don't want to be safe. I want to be free. I'll take care of myself, thank you. I want to be free. Because you know what? I think someday, some of you are going to do what's right, and the men of the hills and the men of the coast, we're going to realize that we have the same person been playing us for thousands of years. All right? So, finally, I wish we'd realize one thing, guys. I wish we cared as much about the property stolen and destroyed every day by the most violent gang of thugs in history, the federal government. That's it, and I'm out.